Okay, so passwords are great. They're easy to use. If you're using a password manager, they can remember them for you. Wonderful. But what if your passwords get stolen? That's not great. What if somebody guesses your password? It is possible. Some people are very predictable. You can analyze their life, think about the 10 things that they like doing. There's a decent chance that something they like doing is somewhere in their password if they're not following great password policies. All right, so I'm going to show you multi-factor authentication. I'm going to try to sign in. I have an account with github.com. So GitHub, it's a site that Microsoft bought a couple of years ago. It's used for hosting source control, source code for applications, ebooks, tons of different things. Tons of code is hosted on GitHub. I've got some code that I host here on GitHub. So I'm going to try to sign in. We can see that Bitwarden, it has figured out, hey, you've got an account here on GitHub. There's my GitHub username is Jim Mark. What's my password? I don't know, to be honest. My password manager knows what it is, so I'm going to click there and I'm going to try to sign in. I'm not going to let my browser save it. Now, here's where it stops. So if you had my username and my password, you could try to sign in to my account here, but you're going to get stopped. Here's the two-factor authentication. I set this up previously. I said I want to secure my account, so I want to use two-factor authentication. You can use a few different things to be that second factor. So passwords are something that you know. Biometrics, there's something that you are, like your fingerprint, your retina, your palm scan, those types of things. Something that you have as a third factor. So I have registered this two-factor authentication using my smartphone, using the Microsoft Authenticator. That means that only somebody with my phone, with that Microsoft Authenticator app on my phone, will be able to log into GitHub using my account. So theoretically, I could give you my username and password and you wouldn't be able to do anything with it. I'm not going to do that though, just in case. That would defeat one layer of security. So I'm going to hold this up, and so I'm going to be using my webcam. So I've got my Authenticator app open right now, and it might be a little bit hard to see. So using the Microsoft Authenticator app, this is synchronizing. So GitHub knows what to expect. Like, I'm going to give them this code, this rolling code on my phone right now, and I can show it to you because it's going to be changing every 45 seconds. And so I'm going to enter 360727. It's got a couple of seconds left. It lets me in. All right, so I've got those two different factors required to log in using a new device. Typically, organizations make you use two-factor authentication when you're trying to log in with a new web browser or a new phone, or if you're in an incognito, that counts as or private browsing window, that counts as a new device. So this is important to use for sensitive accounts. So this is something that should be set up on email for sure. Your primary email account, you should be using multi-factor authentication. So a reasonable question is, why should I use an Authenticator app instead of just text messages, SMS, second factor verification? Well, if you're a high value target, your SMS verification won't be as secure. Because of phone number portability, a very tricky hacker can convince your cell phone provider to switch your phone number, to redirect your SMS text messages to them instead of your phone. So that's less than ideal. The Authenticator apps, it just doesn't work that way. You've got to have your smartphone. Somebody can't call your cell phone provider and have them redirect these Authenticator apps to their phone. It's got to be on your phone. However, there's a downside there. If you lose your phone, you lose that authenticator. So you usually have to have backup codes that are some way to recover. So you might have SMS verification as a backup just in case you lose your phone or, falls in the lake, gets wet, gets fried, something happens to it. So the way I approach this, I use the Authenticator app when I can. I use text messages, SMS backups if I need to, and I go from there. So what should you use? It doesn't really matter. There's a bunch of good ones on the market. If you just go to your smartphone, if you're using the Android or iPhone, you can go to the App Store and just search for Authenticator app. The Microsoft Authenticator, it's been installed 174,000 times. It's good. It's free. Microsoft doesn't charge for it. Nobody should be charging for any of these apps. Google Authenticator, it's good. It's free. All that's fine. You can use Authy or Duo Mobile. Sometimes your employer might require you to have a specific one, and that's fine. Whatever, these apps, as long as they're built by reputable organizations, they're all going to do just fine. So let's take a look at our Gmail settings. So I'm going to pause the video real quick. Okay, so I started the login process, and with this two-step verification, Google actually says, all right, open the Gmail app on your phone. So Google has registered itself on my phone. It knows that it's me. So I'm going to click, yes, it is me. And automatically, without me doing anything, I'm going to click that number 28. I don't even have to click anything on the website. It takes me in. I'm not going to transfer any content here, but I'm going to take a look at security. And two-step verification, I turned it on. Been a while since I changed my password, but that's okay. I've got multi-factor authentication and a good password. So let's take a look at these options here. If you don't have this turned on, turn it on every single account that you're using. It's going to prompt me again, because I could be doing something sensitive. So I want us to make sure that, it's actually me. So I'm going to authenticate once again. I have no security keys, but I am using the Authenticator. Oh, there's my personal cell phone number. I'll be blocking that out. That's a backup. Just in case I lose my phone or I have to transfer my phone, I have to get a new phone, SMS will go there. So you should have this turned on for email. I do have instructions, if you haven't turned it on, how you can go ahead and turn it on. It might be enabled on like a university account or a company account, but make sure that you turn it on your personal Gmail account for sure, without question. Protect your email first, because if someone tries to reset their password and they have access to your email, well, they can reset a lot of your passwords. Then I would say financial institutions next. Protect those accounts. Anything involving money where your credit card information might be saved, or banking information, if somebody can transfer funds, protect those next. And then, prioritize. Out of my 560 accounts saved in Bitwarden, I probably have 10 that use two-factor authentication, because those are the ones where my life could really be negatively impacted if somebody were to gain access to those accounts. I don't use two-factor authentication absolutely everywhere. My Hacker News, news.ycombinator.com, if somebody were to steal my account there, what are they going to comment as me? It's not a big deal. I don't have any sensitive information there. So I'm not terribly worried about that account being compromised. Could be embarrassing if someone got access to my social media and posted something without my consent, but I'm not too worried about that. So make sure you're using two-factor authentication. I went to a conference 2 years ago, a cybersecurity symposium hosted at Northern Michigan University. We had several people from the government come, and they talked to us about the importance of multi-factor authentication. It came up, like almost every speaker said that multi-factor authentication is one of the top things that you can do to protect yourself or organizations. If they turn on multi-factor authentication, it will prevent just so many different data breaches. So turn it on, embrace it, love it. It's a little bit of a pain sometimes, yeah, but it's worth that little bit of pain because it adds so much protection.